sketch, I think a lithograph, maybe, supposedly something that was between a drawing and a picture. Look at this thing. It is a multi-step fractal pyramid, but also these, what are they, stupas, or I forget what they're called, but it's nuts. It's insane. It's a macro instead of indented satellite, it's like outdented Earthlight, maybe. My apologies for the ones that are sadly thumbnails and not the full high-res pictures. Just literally days upon days of work going through the tens of thousands of images and photos and organizing them and trying to find the high qualities and getting rid of the low ones. Look at so 1, 2, 3, 4 megalithic, and the size of the people to those elephants that carved. Those well documented. Oh, that's going woo woo. Shout out to Paul Cook. Hopefully, he did not get abducted by reptilians in Malta today. True story. Legend of Hyphosogium. This spot we're looking at right now. That is several stories of carved out underground caves that somehow amplify exponentially sound from one room to another to another to another as it carries on, and then has underground tunnels below them that were sealed off in, I believe, 1928 when 50 missing school children and the teachers and their guides were down exploring the caves below this, and were the worst legend of it was that the rope was cut, like just clean cut, that was like the safety rope, and that for a week or weeks that apparently the kids' screams were being heard throughout the city or town of Malta. It said, is Malta an actual town on the island of Malta? Wherever the Sophiagium or Hyphagium is, and that there was also a story that there was black hooded like priests or something, a procession of 3 of them or something, that the tourist group came upon, and that they like took off their hoods, and like they had elongated skulls, and they like shrieked or something like that. And then, like, I guess the legend goes that it, like, they took control of the kids, was like that another one of the stories. And then there's the stories of the reptilians also occupying below these in these underground tunnel caverns and cave cities that are documented to be in the legitimate minimum 7,000 years, more likely tens to 20s thousands of years, if not much, much older, and that they are pre-cataclysm, and that this spot right here, the Hypogeum, 30,000 humanoid or hominid skeletons originally discovered and removed from this site, this like actual room right here, when it was first found and excavated. And why was there 30,000 skeletons of humans in there? And was that where the elongated reptilian people dispose of some of their human victims? All just conjecture in your next RPG metaverse video game, of course. Shout out Paul Cook 14 hours ago in Malta, in one of the main Starfort, the three cities or whatever the heck. He did a live where he found a new, not boarded up, not covered up entrance, and that it was staircases way down in, and that he himself had just been reading the actual others' accounts of the reptilian reportings of the underground reptoids in Malta before going in, and seemed legitimately a little freaked out. And well, he went in. Of course, it lost signal about 1 or 2 turns into the cave, but you saw it went down a whole way. Nothing from him since. Hopefully he is okay and, comes out with an epic video, or that if he did get murdered, eaten, and abducted by reptilians, that his GoPro somehow surfaces and that we will at least see Paul get eaten by a reptilian. Disclosure can finally happen through Paul. He can be the ultimate disclosure martyr for Maltese reptilians. That's worst case scenario. Hopefully, instead, he just catches a couple of them on camera. They rough him up a bit. He escapes. We get the footage. I don't know. Let's continue. I got way off topic there. What was I originally trying to show? There's just so much. The out of place artifacts, the macro structures. That's what we were going for. The macro circuits and the still working. Shout out Praveen Mohan, who's also covered Angkor Wat. He's actually gone on site there several times, made actually world first discoveries of the places. So these are just absolutely nuts. What do they actually function as? Look like very complex machines. As does this. As does this. And these are the ones that could still be working and being run today by the royal families, and maybe still true knowledge, esoteric occult wisdoms of the ascended masters and of spiritually pure bloodlines. And in Burma, aka Myanmar, I believe is where this one exists. Maybe it was Laos, but I'm pretty sure it's Burma. Most of Myanmar / Burma's have like the craziest of all of the still covered functioning gold temples and cathedral ruins. As does actually Russia. Ukraine did up until the war starting in 2014. Like, oh, is this Egypt? No, that's Tibet. Looks pretty similar. Also looks very similar to Bolivia, Peru. I love this. So, for those that say mountains and mounds aren't pyramids, this is the 1900 photo of Mexico City, Teotihuacan, Pyramid of the Sun. Here it is, 2022, dug out. And yes, it is a full-on pyramid, like the vast majority of them. Here's Iran, another So this one in Iran, also this old world looking like these macro processor circuit board computer style layout builds. And that is what I was trying to talk about, tying it all back to ain't volcanoes cool.
Wow. Bernie, do you have any news on Dutch? Did the lizard people get him?
No, they definitely did not. We're going to be talking again very soon. Don't you worry about that. It shall happen when it happens, and when it goes live, it will be amazing. Look at this. Just these things here, like I could just imagine the plasma, and during misty lightning storms, possibly they have functions. Cathedral or cathode rod, and workshop or worship. No, workshop of the cathode drill. Much love, Joe. Cool. It did. Thank you. Canada Day was excellent, and wishing all my American brothers, sisters, and self-identifying porpoises and dolphins out there a happy 4th of July Independence Day tomorrow. And on that note, we shall all I still want it. Here we go. Look at this. That is still gold. That thing could still be functioning. That looks like an inversed giant satellite dish, but also an antenna array, but also a bell, a giant golden bell. That's a lot of macro technology, energy harvesting all at once. Even just the morning dew rolling off of. See, look at this. That is gold. Frankie, you're missing out here, bud. All gold. And here's the thing, if you don't know physics and engineering, electrical engineering, antennas, and specifically fractal array antennas, where it is able to keep the electrical charge or the field or something, you have to have a segment and then a full circle around in the other 90-degree angle to it, and then another rod up connecting, and then the other circle and another. So basically each one of these rings is that, and it's multiplying the energy and the electrical differential that it is harvesting going up into the atmosphere, pulling that electrical energy and differential down into the ground, while also exponentially increasing it through the giant bell resonator dome. And again, you have your concentric ring circles with that fractal array antenna passing that electric charge down more and more and more on a larger scale, full gold. And I even would speculate that in misty, rainy, dew-driven mornings, or the ocean, especially ocean sea breezes with some salt, the dew coming up, collecting on this and running down would create even more of electrical differential and charge going in and out of these things.
Yeah. And if you were to play a pipe organ or some instrument inside of there, could become a transmitting antenna.
Oh, yeah. Good point. Very good point.
There's some famous alchemist who said that the secrets are hidden right in the cathedrals. Maybe they're the windows. They're the windows in when you play these organs, especially a bunch of different notes. Well, these windows are gonna they're gonna act as an antenna. So like maybe even a light antenna.
They are
That's way beyond my
fractal
realm, but
as well. You are correct on that.
yeah. I'd like to hear what the other guys think about that. I don't even understand how you would measure light frequencies.
It's sound frequencies through the cymatics, and it's a 2D image of a three-dimensional sound wave cymatic that are in those cathedral waves. As for the sound, how you measure sound or light, is through color and the color spectrums, and that is what fiber optics essentially is. And fiber optic data transfer is through and deciphering color and light waves. But yes, I would absolutely love to hear Jeremiah and Jeremy's takes on that. And now that I have gotten way off of course here, let's finally... Yeah, just as much mine. See, still gold. Look at these Orthodox cathedrals, too. All right, that was super woo. We're finishing off with this one. Look at all that gold still on there. Gold being the ultimate electrical conductor, and just wow. And these are the ones that there's some videos of them like being all charged up and like some plasma arcing at the tops of them. I've seen a couple legit videos of. Okay, so we stop that, and then we get back to Cambodia, which is right next to all of those, and everything I was just showing also exists.
The complex to prevent it from sinking under its own weight, so it would effectively float on a changing foundation and stay standing for centuries. At the same time as researchers were uncovering the incredible features of what Angkor Wat was, they were working to construct its history. Using carbon dating, archaeological analysis, and a review of the area's rare surviving historical documents, they pointed to the Khmer Empire, which had arisen in the 9th century CE in Cambodia and grown over the course of centuries into the most powerful empire in the region. According to researchers, Angkor Wat was built by the Khmer King Suryodvarman II between 1113 and 1150 CE as a Hindu temple dedicated to Vishnu. From that point forward, Angkor Wat served as the physical and spiritual capital for the Khmers, the heart of a mighty empire, until gradually the empire declined for a variety of reasons and the site was abandoned, leaving Angkor Wat to be slowly swallowed by the jungle, until Henri Mou's visit brought the archaeologists of the world to its doorstep. As this official explanation was put together, there were many who expressed skepticism. How, some wondered, could the Khmers have built Angkor Wat in only 37 years, as researchers were suggesting, without the aid of modern technology, when, at the same time, Europe's great powers were taking centuries to build their famous cathedrals? One estimate concluded that if the Khmers had worked from sunrise to sunset every day for 37 years, they would have had to have quarried, transported, cut, and placed 1 ton of stone every minute, uninterrupted, for 37 years, in order to complete the task. To many, this clearly seemed impossible. Elsewhere, others asked, if Angkor Wat was built by a great empire which spanned for thousands of miles and maintained power for centuries after building it, then why was it so unique in the region in both design and size? If the Khmer Empire had built Angkor Wat, would they not have copied its design elsewhere in their massive empire? Yet across Cambodia and neighboring countries, no other structure looks anything like Angkor Wat. Further, nothing else across the region compares to Angkor Wat in size. Would future Khmer rulers after Suryarvarman II not have built bigger, greater complexes to establish their own power? By the mid-20th century, mainstream science had declared the case closed. Angkor Wat was a magnificent temple complex built by the Khmer Empire over the course of 37 years, some 900 years in the past. But for others, the mystery was just beginning. It was not until the 21st century, more than 150 years after Henri Mou first stimulated widespread interest in Angkor Wat, that the true depths of this mystery would finally be revealed. Since the emergence of the official explanation about the Khmer Empire and Angkor Wat, researchers have tried to learn more about the empire and the civilization it supported. Yet, for decades, they made almost no progress. The problem was that the area around Angkor Wat is remote and covered in dense jungle, making on-the-ground archaeological work almost impossible. Moreover, the area's historical records are virtually non-existent due to centuries of conflict which have destroyed archives and a hot, humid tropical climate which has long since deteriorated the palm leaves on which records were written on. But that all changed in 2012, thanks to archaeologists Damien Evans and Roland Fletcher. That year, the two men led a project which would use a type of advanced airborne scanning known as light detection and ranging, or LiDAR scanning, to see through the jungle around Angkor Wat. For weeks, teams took daily helicopter flights over hundreds of miles around the complex, using LiDAR to fire millions of laser pulses at the jungle below. Sensors in the helicopter would then pick up the reflection of the lasers from the jungle floor, allowing researchers to map the unique features of the terrain. What they found shocked them and sent the archaeological world into a frenzy. Angkor Wat was not originally located in the middle of a jungle, as it is today, but rather sat in the center of a huge, low-density urban area. There, hidden beneath the jungle, were the remains of a massive network of roads, residential areas, and shrines, canals, and dried-out ponds, alongside thousands of rice fields surrounded by low, narrow banks. In fact, the network stretched for more than 600 square miles, making the urban area, the words of National Geographic, the size of modern-day Los Angeles. No less than the largest settlement ever built in human history before the Industrial Revolution. Within this area, researchers concluded a population of nearly 1 million people would have lived. This was an astonishing find, a mind-blowing metropolis far beyond anything anyone had imagined had existed in the area. Damien Evans asserted that the research had data in only a few weeks, and yet, as LiDAR research continued, the details about this lost metropolis got even more staggering. In the 1950s and 60s, a French archaeologist named Bernard-Philippe Groslier used aerial archaeology to attempt to reconstruct the ancient water system of canals which surrounded Angkor Wat and fed its enormous moat. His work revealed a system of such complexity that Groslier dubbed Angkor Wat the hydraulic city. But it was not until Evans and Fletcher came along in 2012 that the full mind-blowing scope of this water system became clear. Using LiDAR, they mapped the water system across the entire Angkor Wat urban area. Incredibly, researchers mapped extensive hydrological systems which managed, stored, and dispersed.
Temporary paused it. Just look at the amount of terraforming, macro terraforming, and that this was all under the ground, that they're just like recreating and starting to dig out. And Angkor Wat is only 1% of this overall site, and the 98% of it is reclaimed and covered by jungle and dirt and needs to be excavated.
dispersed water from 3 separate rivers and a nearby lake across the entire urban area. It was a system of unfathomable magnitude and ability. Rivers and creeks had been dredged and straightened into canals and channels more than 10 miles in length and 130 to 200 feet wide, while a vast system of dikes spanning hundreds of miles diverted water where it was needed. Huge reservoirs called BurnEyes, the largest of which was 5 miles long, were created to store water, and a vast network of walled fields was constructed for flooded rice agriculture. With this water system, a landscape of sloping rice terraces was created with an independent water supply, which would have insulated the urban area from droughts. But it was more than that. The water system had clearly been built to provide a transport system across the urban area, as well as a domestic water supply for sanitation. Additionally, the water system included numerous ponds and channels filled with fish, a further source of food for the population within the city. Truly, Angkor Wat was an advanced ancient hydraulic city, one which went far beyond anything Grosslier had originally imagined, a water system totally unique anywhere on Earth. And yet, even this was not the most mind-boggling thing researchers discovered about Angkor Wat. While researchers like Evans and Fletcher were looking closer at the region around Angkor Wat, revealing the secrets of a massive urban area, at the same time, others were looking for secrets within the Angkor Wat complex itself. As this took place, findings began to emerge which showed that Angkor Wat had been constructed with shockingly detailed astronomical and cosmological considerations. To begin, the entire temple complex had been constructed to represent the universe in Hindu cosmology. At the center of this universe is the cosmic mountain of Meru, represented by Angkor Wat's central and tallest lotus bud tower. The enclosure wall around the main temple represented the mountains at the edge of the world, while the moat represented the cosmic sea from which life began. In this way, anyone entering Angkor Wat would go through a terrestrial version of the sacred progression to enlightenment in Hindu mythology. From crossing the cosmic sea, the starting point of one's journey to enlightenment, through obstacles one must overcome in the sacred mountains, finally to Mount Meru and the achievement of enlightenment. It is an amazing thing to create the heavens on earth using millions of tons of stone. But it was not just Hindu cosmology which made its way into the construction of Angkor Wat. There were a number of advanced astronomical details as well. Visitors realized that if they were standing at the entrance to the complex, the sun would rise perfectly over the central lotus bud tower on the equinox. But indeed, it went much further than that. Perhaps the most famous piece of art in the entire Angkor Wat complex is an enormous 160-foot-long carving which depicts the Hindu story of the churning of the ocean of milk from the Mahabharata. In the carving, there are 88 gods and 91 demons, all life-sized, pulling at a rope attached to a central churning pivot with Vishnu sitting in the center. On its own, it is an amazing piece of art. But archaeologists like Eleanor Monica have pointed out that the carving and its placement within the complex were not an accident. Rather, the carving was situated to act as a sort of giant calendar, counting the days between winter and summer solstices. The churning pivot in the middle of the carving, where Vishnu sits, represents the spring equinox, while 91 demons to one side represent the 91 days from equinox to winter solstice, and the 88 gods on the other represent the 88 days from equinox to summer solstice. As the sun moved across it, the carving would effectively count the days of the year. Similar to what they did with Hindu cosmology, the builders of Angkor Wat also inserted references to the movements of the sun and moon directly into the measurements of the complex. Consider the central tower's topmost elevation has external axial dimensions of 189 cubits east-west and 176.37 cubits north-south. Add these two numbers together and you get 365.37, almost the exact length of a solar year. Moreover, the central tower of Angkor Wat has 9 inner chambers, each with a total dimension of 27 cubits in the north-south direction and 28 cubits east-west. Why is this important? Because the moon's orbit takes 27 days, during which time it will appear to move through 27 successive regions of the sky. In Hindu cosmology, these regions are called lunar mansions, and depending on context, there can be either 27 or 28. In other words, while the top of the central tower reflects the orbit of the sun, the chambers beneath reflect the orbit of the moon. Put simply, between cosmological and astronomical implications, the entire Angkor Wat complex was built to be an expression of the greater celestial order. While many ancient sites have similar characteristics, rarely are so many seen in one place with such detail. Was the Khmer Empire really this far ahead of what historians imagined was possible? There is another thing. One final detail about Angkor Wat's alignment, which must be mentioned. It has been shown that all the buildings in the Angkor Wat complex are perfectly aligned to the 4 cardinal points on the compass with a GPS level of precision. If Angkor Wat was built by the Khmer Empire some 900 years ago, how could this have been possible? No compass in existence at that time would have allowed for such a level of precision. Take a step back and look at everything together about Angkor Wat we've discussed so far. The astonishing level of building using millions of stones. The advanced water system spanning the largest pre-industrial urban area on Earth. The detailed astronomical and cosmological precision in design and layout. It is clear that Angkor Wat is one of the most astonishing sights on Earth. But in fact, it is not only when you step back that things are astonishing, but indeed when you step closer. Since it first entered public consciousness in the 1860s, one of the things which has always amazed people most about Angkor Wat is its carvings. Simply, they're everywhere, on the walls and pillars, doors and ceilings, even on the outside of the buildings. Although Angkor Wat is the largest temple in the world, every inch of it is covered with carvings, even on places no one will even be looking at. Some of these carvings are huge, like the churning of the ocean of milk, while others are often so small that they can barely be seen unless one looks closely at their intricate detail. Throughout the complex, there are more carvings than one person could possibly hope to examine in a lifetime. But as different people have slowly started to look through these carvings more closely, they have begun to notice some which are extremely bizarre. One such person is independent researcher and noted YouTube personality Praveen Mohan, who discovered more than one inexplicable carving during his research at Angkor Wat in 2021, in which he examined in person every inch of the temple. As expected, he found that carvings were everywhere, even outside of the temple, in places where people won't even see the carvings. But there was something even more astonishing. First, there was this carving to the sun god Surya, the personification of the sun in Hinduism. Below Surya, in the carving, are 9 figures representing the 9 planets of our solar system, including Pluto, and their orbit around the sun. It is a beautiful work of art. There is only one problem. Pluto wasn't officially discovered until 1930 and cannot be seen without a high-powered telescope. In fact, Neptune, the 8th planet in our solar system, was not discovered until the 1840s, while the 7th planet, Uranus, was only first noted in 1781, each many centuries after Angkor Wat was said to have been built. How could Angkor Wat's builders have known that there were 9 planets in orbit around the sun? Mohan suggested that an answer may be provided in a different carving, one which depicts an incredible scene centered around the god Indra and a 3-headed elephant called Aidavata. At the bottom of this carving is a man who appears to be watching the scene unfold through a telescope. He stands with a cylindrical device held to one eye, pressing his nose out of shape while the other eye is closed. Did the builders of Angkor Wat know there were 9 planets because they saw them through a telescope? Note that, according to the history books, the telescope was not invented until 1608, almost 500 years after we're told Angkor Wat was built. So how could this be possible? This was not all, though. Elsewhere, Mohan noted a carving which showed a figure riding an elephant with 4 tusks. While some wrote this off as a depiction of a mythical scene, Mohan and others have pointed out that 4-tusked elephants did actually exist 2 million years ago. And in fact, fossils of these 4-tusked elephants have been found in Southeast Asia, close to Cambodia. Could the builders of Angkor Wat have been aware of these animals long before fossils were officially discovered? And if so, how? Something even more bizarre was noticed by other researchers in the Temple of Angkor Thom, a smaller temple less than 2 miles from Angkor Wat, which was a part of the greater Angkor urban area. There, a carving appears to depict a Stegosaurus dinosaur. To put 4 tusks on an elephant, an animal people in the region were well aware of, is one thing. A dinosaur is quite another. How could the builders of Angkor Wat have known about such an ancient creature? As inexplicable carvings like these have increasingly been found, many have begun to ask questions. Is Angkor Wat really 900 years old, built by the Khmer Empire? And if so, where did they get all this advanced knowledge of building and hydraulics, of astronomy, of animals long extinct? Is it possible that the Khmer Empire did not build Angkor Wat at all? And if they didn't, then who did? Could a civilization predating the Khmer Empire have actually been the true builders? And if they were, where did they go? And what else did they know? In 1934, a team of archaeologists led by Jean Comey were conducting research in the main chamber of the central tower of Angkor Wat when they came across a well set into the foundation beneath a large statue of the Buddha. The statue was not an original build, but had been added by generations of Khmers after their empire converted to Buddhism, and it appeared to have been built to intentionally obscure the well. But why? Comey and his team slowly began to remove the centuries of debris which had filled the well, discovering as they did that it sunk far deeper into the ground than they'd imagined. At a depth of 50 feet, they ran into an underground water table which flooded the shaft, but they brought in water pumps and continued to excavate. They were glad they did when finally, at a depth just over 70 feet, they discovered a broken stone box blocking their path, with a strange circular cutout in the top. Within this cutout, they found 65 grams of gold leaf. What could this be, researchers wondered? Curious as it was, Comey and his team did not pursue the question any further. Instead, they completed their work and returned to Europe without recording any further details, while the box itself was mysteriously lost. As questions about the secrets of Angkor Wat began to emerge in modern times, some returned to look at the work of Comey more closely, asking questions and putting pieces together. At the top of the central tower of Angkor Wat, there is a hole which lets the sun shine through. Some have suggested that the process of the sun shining through the hole, down the shaft, and onto the box could have been part of some sort of solar energy device, the sun's rays interacting with the mysterious box to create and store energy. While at first the theory seemed far-fetched, its advocates pointed to an ancient account of Angkor Wat written long before Henri Mu, which appeared to provide evidence of how such a solar energy system could have worked. In 1296 CE, a Chinese diplomat named Zhou Daguan traveled to Angkor Wat during the peak of the Khmer Empire's power, where he stayed as a guest of the Khmer king for almost a year. While he was not the first person from China to visit the place, he was the first to provide a detailed account of the city and its people. Indeed, his seminal work, The Customs of Cambodia, is the only known written account from that time anywhere in the world. Within this account, something incredible is mentioned. As Zhou wrote, "In the center of the capital is a gold tower, flanked by 20 or so stone towers and 100 or so stone chambers." According to Zhou, the central lotus bud tower of Angkor Wat was made of or covered in gold. This jumped out to those speculating about a solar energy device at ancient Angkor. If there was some sort of solar energy device buried within the central tower of Angkor Wat, then there must have been a way to access this energy. Gold is one of the most electrically conductive materials on Earth. If, as Zhou suggests, the central tower was originally covered in gold, could this have to do with a projection of energy? Here, many connected Angkor Wat with the work of famed inventor Nikola Tesla, who, in the early 1900s, developed a device known as the Tesla Tower, which was topped by a large ball of conductive metal and designed to pump the energy of the Earth skyward, where it could be accessed by individual receptors around the world. Is it possible that Angkor Wat could have been doing something similar? Theories of an ancient electrical Angkor were only taken further in 2015, once again thanks to the LiDAR research of Damien Evans and Roland Fletcher. That year, it was revealed that beneath the grounds of the Angkor Wat complex were sprawling structures forming the shape of a giant spiral, some 5,000 feet long. As findings were compiled, Evans and Fletcher were dumbfounded. The giant spiral was unlike anything they'd ever seen before, and they had no idea what it could be. Fletcher called it the most striking discovery associated with Angkor Wat to date. While in their report, the two men wrote, "The huge, unique, and problematic structure of the rectilinear spirals has never previously been recognized or even predicted or supposed, and still defies explanation." Look closely at these spirals. Do they not look strangely electrical? Some are already asserting that these spirals must have been part of an ancient energy system, acting as some sort of power grid, storing and distributing energy. As more becomes known about the spirals in coming years, might they provide the proof of an ancient electrical Angkor? These are the types of questions which lead many to believe that the mystery of Angkor Wat might go much further than mainstream science is currently willing to accept, much further even than anyone imagined. Was Angkor Wat really built by the Khmer Empire 900 years ago? Or is it possible that the Khmers only discovered and used it? That in fact it was built long before them by some other advanced ancient builders? Note that when Zhou Daguan visited Angkor Wat in 1296, he was told by locals that the temple complex had been constructed by a divine architect in a single night. His visit took place less than 150 years after Angkor Wat was said to have been built by the same empire Zhou was visiting. If the Khmers had built it, would they not remember that they had? Would they not want to brag about their accomplishment to a foreign dignitary? Saying it was built by a divine builder sounds more like the explanation of a people who discovered a fantastic structure and needed a story for how it got there. Why say someone else built it unless someone else built it? More importantly, if someone other than the Khmers built it, who were they? Did they really know the secrets of not just astronomy and hydraulics, but perhaps of energy generation? Regardless of the answer to these questions, what is clear is this. Even within the official explanation, Angkor Wat is one of the most amazing sights anywhere on Earth. The remnants of a mighty empire and the heart of an advanced urban area constructed by a people with astonishing building skills and precise astronomical knowledge. But maybe it goes further than that. Maybe Angkor Wat was not only the home to the Khmer Empire, but an advanced ancient civilization long forgotten. To this day, research at Angkor Wat is ongoing. You're going to want to stay tuned to find out what might be found. But for now, if you want to further explore the idea of an advanced ancient civilization that predates those recorded by mainstream science and left behind incredible structures which are only now beginning to be understood, watch our video on Nan Madol, the ancient floating city built by giants. Once again, thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe to our channel if you want to see more videos like this one. You can also click the notification button so you get updated when we post a new video.
Epic.
And that is a reminder for everybody to hit that bell for notifications. And hopefully it becomes
Bernie, your audio, excuse me, your audio might be fading out.
Oh, can you hear me now? Is it
That's way better?
Okay,
way
it's
better.
reloaded. It cut out there. One computer crashed. The other froze for a minute.
And
now
the
we're
Angkor
back.
Wat.
Oh,
Angkor Wat's on a ley line, of course. I just checked it.
a huge spot of them, right?
Yeah, yes. It's like 100 feet away from a huge intersection of them. Yeah. Probably they move around like the magnetic North Pole, you know?
Oh, we got an echo. We got an echo. And now it is done. Sorry about that.
It wasn't me.
Esoteric Knight of Malta, welcome, brother. My Sherry Aunt Nolani, welcome. Brother, you might have to go digging for Paul if you got, well, actually, maybe just send in a drone for the GoPro if he did get taken by the reptilians. Hopefully he is alive. I say this jokingly, but with like the conspiracy paranoia in my heart that prays it is not true. And I don't know, it's creepy as F. There's lots of legends of reptilians in these underground caves of the world, and especially Malta.
Not there, they were probably, right?
Exactly.
And Malta's right there by the pyramid too.
My Sherry, I noticed a few days ago that both of my accounts had been, and then I messaged Ben, and he was like, "Oh, I had no idea. Sorry," and fixed it and promptly put them both back. And yes, so it seemed to only be in effect for a couple of days. Someone shadow banned me, blocked me, but Ben restored it, and I've been able to comment again and participate as he does absolutely epic work. Shout out to the archivist analog Ben, whose birthday it was yesterday. And July 3rd today, July 4th tomorrow. July 17th is my birthday, so exactly 14 days from today, I am turning 38, 39, 39. Oh my God. How old am I? Jesus.
That's a good number.
No. 38. I think 38. Am I the same age as Paul? 85. Whatever 85 is. And posted the StreamYard link if anybody would like to join in the live. I posted on Crypto Alchemist channel in the live right now, and I will what we're going to have to do, as we are at 8 hours, this marathon stream, 8 hours long right now. So I'm going to end it on Crypto Alchemist, but I'm going to continue it on the BurnEye channel. But also we are posting the link to join. So anyone that wants to join the panel can join in. Oh, happy birthday, Humble Be Wonderful, July 19th. Stacy Sunshine is Friday on 7/7. Happy birthday. We have a whole bunch of crabs in the house. It is a community of cancers.
Mine's the 16th.
Right?
And happy supermoon, by the way.
It's just crabs. The cancers are everywhere today in this chat. In this community. Okay, so I also am doing real alchemy. Yes, this one. You can see the aluminum zinc in the middle there starting to condense down. The one on the far left that Bender is staring straight through, it's completely collapsed down. What I'm going to do next is disconnect this giant jar from the 5-volt plug-in, that's a power supply that I have going to it, and then remove this pure aluminum beam. Shout out to Ted, who donated me the scrap aluminum. Anyone with scrap copper, aluminum, stuff of the sorts, especially in Alberta or Western Canada in general, you want to ship some scraps, donate it. It's perfect for alchemy and building coils, or make them yourselves. That's why we're teaching it. So I'm going to set up a couple new reactions to make colloidal silver, because it is currently a full moon, or very close to the full moon. I think it's full moon right now. Is that correct?
Yes, and it's a super moon.
Super moon and full moon. All right,
it's so a little bit closer to the Earth, they say, and bigger.
Boom! Look at that. So let's test it. We're doing real science and alchemy in the house right now. That we will set it back up for when we come back on the live on Crypto Alchemist. So it's going to be ending on Crypto Alchemist in 5 minutes here, but I've posted the link to join. The StreamYard link is in the Crypto Alchemist live chat right now. If anyone wants to join the panel before I restart it, because I will be restarting it, and we're going to keep this marathon stream to 11 hours on BurnEye. So there's 3 more hours of a panel to come. And yes, one more time. So continue watching on the BurnEye right now, so it doesn't cut out for you at all. Posted in the live chat. So, head on over, give an extra like and sub, and continue watching live, or on the Tao of Frankie. Also, Frankie's channel now streaming. And
Thanks.
Oops, did I freeze again? I froze. And yes, here we go. Invite again. Anyone who would like to join the panel. And we need to. Very good. Getting there. Aha. Let's see. Is this one better? Yeah, I guess so. So, to finish it off, it was at 7 minutes 57 seconds or 57 minutes and 57 seconds, right as I saw that. We got 2 minutes left before I restart on Crypto Alchemist. So we'll catch you on the other side where alchemy gets done in the garden. Going to do some watering and some hydrogen reactions and start to collect some gas for fuel. And that will be in the part 2. Here I am. So I ended it on Crypto Alchemist, and then I've restarted it as part 2 on Crypto Alchemist. Oh, is it live? It is. Says it's live. Very good. So it is live.
I think so.
Yes. Yes, we are. Very good. In part 2, we are actually going to go out into the garden and cover electroculture here. And Frankie, what are your thoughts? And have you been doing anything with electroculture yourself, or with the monatomic colloidal waters and agriculture? Are you doing any agriculture? Do you grow any of your food at all?
Both. I I'm not very good at gardening. I'm kind of excited about it. So I got 3 different jars with sprouts. One of them has got the coiled copper in it. The other one is under a pyramidal shape, and then the other one is just a control. The pyramid, the one under the pyramid sprouted 9 days before the other one, and was almost 3 inches tall. I actually have a video, but I can show it later. It's pretty profound, actually. Now it could be that the light's reflecting up, yeah. And I'm also making some silver water right now too. I was thinking the same thing as you about the moon. I'm not very good at it, and I don't know if it's sea level, but I can only put 1.5 volts in before it fries the cathode, or just like burns it, the surface. But it does work with just 1D battery.
Yeah, I recommend that actually. That's a good way to start, is the 1D.
Yeah, I wonder if it matters that you're up at where it's cold or way above the sea level.
Right, quite possibly. I think you're on something with that. And
Yeah, I got a quick question for you.
freezing's different, all sorts of different pressures. So of course the differential has to be different too.
Right. Yeah, you're way ahead of me on this. It's fun though, and it's weird. It has the weird light reactions, like the almost like it's got its own light source, because I have it in a dark closet thing in the back. Let me ask you this, Bernie. So this thing is basically, it's copper inside of a copper thing, and these are magnets inside of a donut. So this thing
show that again. So please explain in detail what you've got up there. Great,
okay.
sir.
Okay.
A couple of coppers within donuts.
Yeah. So inside of one of these are magnets aiming at each other, opposing. These are on wires, separate. This is also magnets. So this is a magno-hydrodynamic drive. This should spin the water with some current, like I think just DC, into a tornado. It's sort of like it was kind of like what the dude was talking about, I think. And the question is, when I do this, is this it's going to create hydrogen and oxygen gas? And is it going to create monoatomics too, if it's spinning like a tornado? Because I think it's going to. I kind of want to try this live, but I don't have the jug for it yet. What are your thoughts
yes,
on that?
I believe 100% it will create the monoatomics. That's part of the wind hex technology and design of Bob Greenier and Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project there. And Cosmic Dave has been experimenting getting some over unity, what I suspect is over unity, in that out of the vortex he's putting the cold water mist in and getting hot water, like steam out, sort of thing, or something like that, charged ionized with the monatomic metals combined.
So I have one of these dudes. It's like basically a sun gun. Yeah. Should I? This is 8,000 volts, about, I think, or between 4 and 8. Should I try that too? I don't know. I mean, it couldn't hurt much, but I would like to see what it does.
Yeah, exactly. Right, records as a control and then as like an alteration, and each experiment.
Yeah, the magnets are supposed to make it way gnarlier.
Oh, 100%, especially rotating magnets and magnetic fields. When you start rotating at thousands of RPM, both monatomics and magnetic fields, that is the key to free energy and over unity fields, especially when you have other coil triple solenoids, essentially solenoids around that center spinning magnetic core.
I was thinking about going full 40 volts or something, just Also, I don't know what the guys are going to think about this. Maybe it's stupid.
And happy birthday to Frankie. Frankie's birthday is July 16th. Mine's the 17th, right? Look at that.
Yeah, pretty cool. Bunch of Cancerians here. So this is my version of this is a rodent coil made of hose. Inside
Very
of it is
nice. And
yeah, it's got
bagel
silver and
too.
gold colloidal water inside of it. So is the field like Dan Winter was saying, the field of these monoatomics are so big. The dude from the plasma channel, once again, he basically took a water hose and replaced it with the top of a Tesla coil. He got rid of the toroid and put a water hose in it. Works 8 feet away. So what will this do? I don't have a proper power supply to do this yet, and I would like somebody's advice on which one to get because I can't find one that gets above 40 volts that gives me control of the frequency, you know. But I wonder, is this going to make a difference? Will it have no resistance compared to copper? It's just a single wrap.
I believe it will. Definitely worth testing and setting up. I love the idea.
Yeah, why not, right? I don't know how you could test it, except for just, you know, will it spin a magnet on less power or more? I don't know. I'd sure like to hear people's thoughts on it, especially Gerald too, of course, especially everybody. But I think he already been thinking about this, pretty sure.
Right? I should actually everybody the email of the link to join at this point instead of just posting it in the live chat a couple times, as I just restarted the stream on Crypto Alchemist. What shall we start it off with? Let's start it out with shout out to Lucius Aurelius, Darren Kuyu, the underground city of Turkey. Video out on his channel just came out in the last few hours. Let's take a little look-see at Darren Kuyu while I send the emails for the team to get the panel going.
Okie
Oh, do you got something you want to share? Or?
Oh, I could really quick. This is a theory.
Of course.
Let's see here. I'm not gonna play this. I'm just gonna show you. Actually, you can't even play it. Okay. Okay. How come it's not sharing? Hang on. Sorry. Here we go.
Sorry, I accidentally clicked on it. You're gonna have to
okay.
Again, I won't touch it.
I don't think this is a light bulb. I think this is a bottle filled with monoatomics, and the Lotus is probably some sort of vortex coil. And there's your plasma snake, and this blue force field you talk about coming out when you spin this stuff. This doesn't seem like proper use of a light bulb to me, and these dudes are touching their head with it, which is gonna be hot. I think this is some sort of wormhole device, maybe, or a force field thing. It looks like a snake inside. You know, you and Gerald were talking about that. The plasma snake coming out, and he was talking about the tribes making the cloud that goes up and straight up out of the plasma. And it reminded me that the Jews were, during the Exodus, they were following a tornado cloud that looked like fire in a tornado at night. Kind of the same thing. Seems really similar to me.
Yeah, and that it could always like the arc I see coming out of it, and plasma potentially. Have you seen the reconstructions of the people that have put? I forget. I think maybe it's argon gas, and then the gold. I think it's like a solid gold swerving snake replicating the center of the dendrolite, hooked it up to a couple of Baghdad batteries, and got it powering a bright UV purple blue glow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we
Pretty
should find that one.
cool. Makes me wonder. It seems significant that they're putting their head against it, as if they're wanting to, like it's a plasma cloud. They're just wanting to stick their
Yeah,
head
it could be healing. Quite possibly could be healing. The UV plasma tubes, I know, kill like all like bacteria, virus, stuff like that, and then like the HHO, blue flames. None of this is health advice, and I don't actually know this for sure. Never tested it. Not a doctor, but I've seen many examples, supposedly on of people that have shown these devices that seem to cure miraculously when exposed to the blue purple UV hydrogen plasma arc and flame technologies and fields.
Yeah, don't try this unless the dude is
Never
doing
try
it.
this at home.
Yeah, he's got to be at least twice as tall as you. Like this is a giant compared
right?
to the
That was another thing I like. I'm glad you pointed that out because I wanted to say it, but instead you brought it up, and that is excellent that you do. And look at this. Actually, is that a cord that is connected to like some sort of controller that guy that's kneeling is the regular human, and then like
it
the
pretty
giant
much
being
has
like.
to be. So this
But
is a
underneath
rotary
them
coil.
both
I bet
too
you,
is
and it's
going to
spinning a
the
magnetic ball.
batteries.
That's also
Like there's
why
the
they're
batteries
tilted that way.
behind, but I'm saying like there's also a controller in the guy's hand. It looks like.
Yes. Trippy, right?
Very trippy.
And Malta is right around the corner from there. Shout out.
Oh, exactly. There's legends as well that the underground caves of and tunnels of Malta actually connect under the or the Mediterranean Sea directly to Giza pyramid tunnels themselves. So that is actually a modern day conspiracy of ancient legends and possibilities. Yeah, fascinating stuff. Glad you made and connected that sync and that dot right there.
Tumble off, right?
Exactly. Oh, see, I don't. Maybe we'll play it at the very end. I've got a bonus of video that I don't know if it will copyright strike, but so we'll play it at the very end. But it's like 40 different well-documented story places of access to the underground tunnels around the world, and then different people's experiences with such locations.
Yeah, 1,800 feet down, he says. And I wonder how deep the Mediterranean is.
Good question. Are you able to pull up Google Earth by chance?
Yes, absolutely.
Excellent.
In fact, I already have it up. Or no, I don't. I did a little bit ago.
So what I would like to do right now is if you could find this spot right here. Shout out to Jim Dillinger channel, and Jim made this video last week, and we went over it the other night. But this being off in New Jersey, I believe, on Long Island, and there's these petroglyphs here, and what essentially he's suspecting in the argument is that if this is old and ancient harbors and landscape just being like newly maybe uncovered and brushed away by the hurricanes or some shit, flooding, something like that, and that all of this what would be claimed as new marina and stuff was actually old, or is it new and they
had lag on my side, Bernie, with the audio? It should buffer itself out soon.
Okay. Close up of these geoglyph petroglyphs, you can see like a seahorse, a stork, another like seabird or turtle, like a shark, and then these different symbols and
I think
stuff.
Bernie's frozen up, or I am. Let's see here.
Oh,
just give this a second.
I can hear you fully. Can you hear me fully? It might be because of your Google Earth. Oh, it looks like we lost Frankie there for a second. Oh, we're down to Frankie. Hey, Jim Dillinger, shout out, brother, in the chat watching right now. That's a synchronicity. So while we wait to get Frankie back, and while we have Jim in the live chat, everybody needs to go to watch on the bottom here these specific coordinates, enter them in to your Google Earth, and those. Oh, Highlander, there can only be one. No, there can be many of us exploring this. But there can be only one that gets a drone out here first. Oops, need to mute myself. Sorry. I do have to pause momentarily. Sorry to interrupt your excellent episode once again, Jim, but give credence where credence is due. And it is true that Tartarian Truth, Shem Jacobs, 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe even a month or two now, I don't know how fast time flies, but it was definitely on Tartarian Truth Instagram. You did like a 2 minute or 5 minute, maybe even 15 minutes. 5 to 10 minutes. You did a video showing 3 or 4 dendrolite examples around Egypt or glyphs or whatever, portraying them as the lights. I believe we're gonna have to pull that one up. I will send you the link, Shem, if you want to join in and share it. That would be good as well. And hold on here, Mr. Frankie. We're just gonna, while we have Jim in the chat, or yeah, can you pull up? Do you see this location here in the bottom right corner? And can you pull up this spot on the Google Earth that you have in the 39, 43, and 44 and 74, 07, 49 West? These two lists.
Bernie, can you give me that again? I lost connection for a second there.
Right. Oops. Oh, I do have sound. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so it is. We need a 39 degrees, 43 feet, 52 inches, symbol N, 74 degrees, oh 07 foot, 35-inch west. If that is correct, or if that makes sense. How am I supposed to read it? Like in minutes and stuff? I honestly took geology and geography and passed. Yet I can't remember. You're in Malta right now. Did you need those numbers one more time? You're muted, Frankie.
I think it's messing up. I can do this on the side. What is the
Okay, sorry about that. So the number is 39 degrees, 44, 1 dash, 07, 2 dashes north, and then 74 degrees, 10, 1 dash, 50, 2 dashes west.
give me a sec here.
It's off the coast of New Jersey, I do believe.
Okay.
All the internets. I don't think they want this one getting out. Like it. Oh, it was playing the wrong one. I was sharing the wrong tab, wasn't I? There we go. Now it's playing.
My audio seems to go down, or yours does, whenever I pull up Google Earth. But I'm gonna have it preset in just a sec.
So you can see at the very bottom there, it's written in the right corner finally, instead of me trying to read it off to you. Yeah, right. They clearly don't want this one getting out there. And shout out Jim Dillinger in the chat. Oh, we got 2 Frankies. We got New West Reset also in the chat today. And anybody wants to join in, we are doing a panel now, so feel free to use the link and come on in. We can have 2 Frankies on at once, even.
The more the merrier, even better.
Exactly. Right? Google Earth just eats up the bandwidth. There you go. You got her. Come on.
Okay. 74 here. And 39, so it should be right here.
Yes, sir. It should be behind the Big Bay Island or Long Island there, in between
Right
the
here somewhere.
two. Yeah, between the
Is it underwater?
the breakwater that is actually called Long Island, I believe, which looks like one macro scaled terraformed breakwater island that was intelligently built at some point. But
It's gonna
between
be
that
right
and
here.
then the lagoons in
Right here.
between, yes, sir. Yeah, you got it. And then just zoom into, yes, sir. Marcel Ploger, welcome, good sir. To everybody in the EU joining in from Europe, prayers are with you, especially if you're in France. Do not fall for Albert Pike's morals and dogmas, World War III, by turning the Islam and Hebrew and Christians against one another to bring in a Luciferian reign. We got a Frankie and we got a Frankie. My other fellow Frankie fingers, Tartarian, Calgarian, Targaryen, and the Tower Frankie. I'm not sure, have you two met before, but if not,
Hey, how you guys doing?
Frankie squared.
Nice
Good
to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Frankie. How you doing?
Good, man. Good.
Good, good, good. I feel like a guy feels like he's talking to himself.
I know, right?
Which wouldn't be the first time. Let's face it.
No, he's good at it. I'm terrible.
How you
at
doing,
it.
Bernie?
So awesome.
Good, brother. Good. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. Yeah, just kind of chilling today. Got the day off, so
Perfect. Right? Yeah, I guess it's just Canadian holiday, statutory holiday. Is it a holiday in America too, or is it just tomorrow? Is it a regular work day in America today? They're like, screw you, Canada, with your holiday. I don't know.
yeah, that's a good question. I think they probably have Saturday, yesterday, today, and then probably tomorrow. They probably would try to make it a 4-day weekend. I mean, that's what I would do. Why not, right?
Right. Well, France, they're trying to make it like what? If they celebrated for Canada and for the U.S., it'll be 10 days of fireworks and fire. Just
Yeah, because officially yesterday was Canada Day, but because it fell on a Sunday, today's the holiday, I guess, is how it works.
that is correct. That weird, strange government bureaucracy. Frank Tao, good sir, were you able to get that specific one, or are we seeing it?
Yep. Yeah, I have it here. I'm adding it to the screen, but every time I do, it seems to pull up the Burnt Ernie picture instead.
Well, yeah, that's just while it loads. You just gotta let it
Oh, okay.
load while it does that, and it's just because it's eating up a whole lot of bandwidth.
I could kill the other windows. I have like 4 or 5 open on the other screen. Let me do that. It might help.
Oh yeah, no, we're good. We're good. There you go. We got it.
Oh, yeah. So this appears to be it right about here, right? There's a lighthouse.
I believe so. Let's just zoom in and take a look, see at all the sandbanks, maybe up to the right as well.
39.
Like, undeniable that this is all man-made.
46. 3944 is right about here. So, and then 74 is right.
So
7410.
3944 and 7410. Bring it back.
Wait. Away.
I would tend to agree, by the way, Bernie, what you said about the terraformed coastline or man-made or man-manipulated coastline. I mean, it's no matter how close or how far you pull back from it, it definitely looks to be too straight, or even if it is slightly curved,
You got it.
It looks too uniform.
Frankie, yeah, you got it. No, zoom back
You see
in,
it, Bernie?
Frankie. Stay where you were. It's in the bottom corner, right or left corner of where you just were. You were banging on, brother. And New West Reset, I fully agree.
Oh, I was, okay.
With that, and that the only question is what was remnants and the foundation that was like found and then like either built upon and reclaimed as new, or that's been like trying to be covered up and destroyed to hide this history.
Well, we all pretty much know or suspect anyways that the sea levels at one time were a lot lower. I mean, that's even mainstream science pretty much agrees on that. If you go back to, the quote unquote ice age, when a lot of the liquid water was in the form of frozen ice caps. So if you've got a lower sea level, perhaps, and we've seen it from multiple sources, other findings, sunken cities or remnants of sunken cities and pyramids all across the realm underwater, right, off of shorelines. So perhaps this was some kind of wall or structure or embankment that was submerged, but then it was found. So that's what they used as their, I guess, their sort of baseline to build up with. I don't know. It appears to me to be sand. Most of these are like sand bars.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe dredging and scooping up the sand and placing it on top of whatever was submerged.
Just like modern day island building and terraforming, like the Saudis are doing and like the Chinese are doing in the South China Sea. But it's the fact, though, that it's like they're these starfort bastion ones that seem to be man-made islands, supposedly made either by the Spanish, the British, or the French or Dutch, depending on what colonization area they give credit to over here, where we're seeing on a lot of the most oldest maps now coming out that contain them with different names, or the similar names, just different spellings, existing a lot older. And yeah, so Frankie Tao in the four tiles up from the bottom, 4 tiles to the from the far left. If you zoom into that area, I believe you will
here
get them. To
here.
the right a bit, up. Don't move. Don't. Okay. Wetlands view, where it says wetlands view, and then up there a little bit.
Oh yeah, where that blue, the little blue icon is, it says wetlands view. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I don't see that.
Well, the other thing too is even in modern times, Bernie was mentioning, Saudi Arabia or some of the United Arab Emirates
7410
building out more land offshore. Japan did the same thing for an airport. And even here in Canada, they did that when they had Expo 67. They actually built an island. Supposedly, we're told that when they were putting the subway system in Montreal, expanding the already existing subway system, in modern times, they dug out to newer tunnels to expand the Montreal subway called the Metro. That all the earth that they dug out from underneath to expand the subway system, they used to build the island in the St. Lawrence, which eventually became the grounds for the Expo 67. Now, whether that island was already there and they just expanded upon it, I don't know. And I think some of the old world tech involved old underground subways or rail systems or transportation systems of some kind, so what we today call subways. And maybe that was rediscovered and they put it back into use. And then in the 50s and 60s, dug out new tunnels to expand on the already existing sort of refound and reclaimed old world underground rail system.
Frankie, are you in the East Coast?
Sorry, come again?
Are you in the Toronto area, East Coast?
No, I'm originally from Montreal, but now I'm in Calgary. I live in the same city as Bernie. Bernie and I are neighbors. We live about, I don't know, 20 minutes from each other.
That's awesome.
He's my Calgarian, Tartarian brother.
Exactly. And we went and even met up, explored the Hart mansion together, and I still got to do an episode of cryptids as the Crypto Alchemist from this epic book Frankie gave me.
Oh yeah, have you been digging through that?
I have indeed, good sir.
It's pretty cool. I mean, there's the standard stuff like Sasquatch and Loch Ness Monster and that, but then there's also weird, obscure stuff that I'd never heard of in that book. I thought it was pretty interesting when I saw it, so I grabbed it.
I don't care what anybody says. I know what I experienced. It was a petrodactyl, pterodactyl, thunderbird, something or other, the fuck giant dragon in Drumheller Badlands at 3:30 in the morning that flew over. I actually shone my laser pointer at it that I just had on me, and it gets creeps every time. Because when you pray, you get like there's that instinct. Your hair stands up and you shiver, and say you remember it every time because your hair stands up and you shiver. And point being, I know what I saw, and I swear to God, I saw something giant flying, hunting me in the Badlands of Drumheller that is world famous for Royal Tyrrell Dinosaur Museum, aka dragons, and I swear it's filled with pyramids in the city. So we got to go there as well, Frankie.
I've been to Drumheller
right?
many times since I was a kid. I was about 10 years old when we moved to Calgary from
too.
Montreal. So I've been there probably a dozen times, just family trips or road trips with buddies later on. Also, when family would come out to visit, we would take them to, Banff, Drumheller, the usual sort of touristy spots that have a lot more interest than just being a tourist trap type destination. And I've always really dug the Badlands. You're right, Bernie. There's weird stuff all through that entire swath of what we call the Badlands in Alberta, from just north of Drumheller going all the way down into where you were recently in the Medicine Hat, Dinosaur Park, Head Smashed In, Buffalo Jump area. I think that was an earlier reset here in North America, in our area here in Alberta, where something happened that just cooked everything. Whether it was some kind of dam, some kind of plasma ray, plasma blast,
probably, right?
Some kind of solar blast, some kind of weirdo weapon that we're not aware of from the past, like maybe one of those Archimedes, what are those things called? It's where they build like a giant, basically laser using mirrors and the sun.
Yeah.
Something like that, maybe. Like, who knows, right? But I think it was a long time ago, and then since then we've had a couple of other resets more recently here in Alberta. Maybe around the mid 1700s we had a mud flood. That's kind of when I think our mud flood was around here, was just prior to the 1803 Lewis and Clark and David Thompson trips out west here from the eastern parts of Canada and the US. I think they were sent out to check things out, see if things had settled down and what could be salvaged, what could be dug out and repurposed, reused, and what would have to basically be covered up and, destroyed or buried, and what they could sort of build a narrative around. Like, oh, this building's too big for us to knock down, so we'll fix it up and we'll say it's an old church, or we'll say it's an old orphanage or insane asylum or whatever, right?
Maybe they got to keep the giants underground, you know. I believe the bird, Bernie. We what we do know is we cannot trust academia now. It's pretty much they've been exposed basically as, you know, they can't break their own paradigm.
Hey, we got a Tartarian Truth. What up, Shem?
What's going on, guys?
Hey, Shem,
Welcome.
how you doing?
Not too bad, man. How about you?
Good. Nice to meet you, sir.
Yeah, you too. Heard you guys talking about some crazy stuff, the pterodactyl or whatever, and then I was like, I gotta hop on. But I just
Well, yeah, like you go to that Drumheller Museum.
Pterodactyl? Shit.
That, to me, that's my nightmare, Bernie, is like, you know, let's just say that you accept the mainstream narrative dinosaurs, right? Tyrannosaurus Rex, Brontosaurus, whatever, right? That would be scary enough for a human being of, let's say, you know, average, you know, 6 feet tall, and there's a 40 or 50 or 60-foot giant, angry, pissed off lizard chasing you. That would be scary enough. But when that bugger can fly also, that just multiplies the terror by 10 in my mind. Like nothing would be scarier than some kind of giant lizard that can fly, swooping down to kill you. Now, whether it's lizard-like or whether it's a giant thunderbird, we don't know.
That part I
go by
couldn't
what they
see
try to tell
because
us, right?
it literally blocked out the light from a full moon and like made it dark temporarily. And like when I got like pegged it with the laser, it was like at least 600 feet, maybe like up to 2,000 feet up, but like high up there, and like able to block out that moon and like the shadow, and like it just like dove as soon as I got the laser like on it, and like was able to like start like making depth perception range like accurately looking at it. And right now, once again, I just got the freaking shivers up my spine every time I think about it, because it's like when you are freaking prey, you are prey, and you know to like duck and cover, and that like make of it whatever the hell you want. You can ask my girlfriend Amber, because she was in the house, so we were staying at my friend's house. You can also talk to my friend Warren and ask them what I was like, because I was straight shook, and they can testify to that. I don't know. There's caves there too, and the main thing though of these Badlands is that like they all have these and look like these or these. You know, these
Mm-hmm.
or these or these.
Bernie, there's a
all them
monster too.
All them shits is
Yeah.
out there.
All them things.
Hey, Bernie, I'm a little older than you. A guy over here is a little long in the tooth. I'm 53. So I can remember going into Drumheller 1980, 1981, when you pretty much had free reign you could just pull over the car and you could go hiking up into where the hoodoos are. Now it's all blocked off and you can't get in there anymore. But you know the hoodoos with the swinging bridge when you go towards the old Atlas coal mine, right? We used to just wander around in there, me and my cousins, when they were out to visit or whatever. And there's so many caves up in there, Bernie. We would explore these caves and keep going in deeper and deeper until we weren't getting enough light shining in from the opening of the cave anymore. And it was getting too dark and we were getting too freaked out as kids where we would have to turn around and go back out again. But there's so many caves up and around where those hoodoos are, dude. It's mind bending.
I'm terrified to go in caves by myself, at least.
Well, when you're a kid, you don't think, oh,
straight
I
up. I hope Paul Cook did not get taken by reptilians, because legitimately every time in Malta he finds a carved staircase descending down, and it's like you can see that it's clearly several stories down, and that it went both ways, and that it's one that hasn't been blocked off or recognized, and that apparently there was also the reptilian, David Icke's claimed reptilian freaking triangle symbol right at the front of the door of it too, or something. I don't know. It was like this 20-minute live he did 14 hours ago, and then I haven't heard from him since. And I give it,
Yikes.
like a 20% chance every time he goes into one of those. He's gonna
I
have
know.
the same.
Wouldn't mind running with that pterodactyl in a cave.
Did it
In
end
a tunnel.
abruptly or something? Did the stream end abruptly, or did he actually?
Oh yeah, the stream ended abruptly. It did. 100% it did. It ended abruptly, and there's been nothing from him since.
Yikes. Well, I haven't had a chance to see that one yet, but I did watch the Jim Dillinger video that you were kind of showing little bits and pieces of earlier. I watched that video when
Yeah,
Jim
that's
put it up on his channel. I think that's a pretty neat
right there.
find. Yeah, that.
Right. So then, Frankie, right over the spot, if you scroll it west across the bay, but at that same latitude there, you'll get a whole bunch more of the petroglyphs and these sunken canals. Just scroll across the bay to the left if possible. Yes, sir, right there. And in those ones is where we want to zoom in, right?
Right where that sort of pockmark looking
Right
area
in the
that's
sun, zoom straight in.
semi-submerged there, yeah.
39, 44, 29, 43, or 39, 43.
Yeah, he found some neat stuff in there. Yeah, there's all these weird petroglyphs all in and around there that Jim zoomed in on. And I mean, just like all the other petroglyphs that we see, or the majority of, they're quite large and they can only be seen from above.
Frankie, you went way too far, brother. Now you're into the city.
Oh, give me a sec here, Bernie.
Okay, to the right, where it says 7412, maybe. Right now, could that be? Right on the right middle. Don't zoom out. No, don't go too far. You're zooming way too far.
In general, the lag is frustrating, but
yeah,
the lag is really exceptional today. Today, the lag is
every time anyone uses Google Earth Live, it just kills it all. Yeah. It's like, Google, come on, you're already hijacking 60-70% of my CPU, running God knows what advertising spyware shit on me constantly. Like, the least you can do is provide a proper working Google fucking Maps for my stream. Like, shit.
Yeah. Come on now.
Step
up your game.
We're still live on 10 different channels, and feel free to restream this to your guys' channels, New West Resets and Tartarian Truth if you wish, or wish not. Don't worry about it. Either or, it's all good. So yeah, speculating that those giant sandbars called Long Island are terraformed, but from the ancients. I have seen videos of somewhere along the East Coast in the few places that there's these giant boulder dikes sticking out from these sandbar islands, and that people went there. You got it. Zoom straight in there, straight in where it says 7411 or 7412, straight into that spot. 7412, and then straight in a little bit further, and that bottom right corner right now, if you could go into that one specifically.
You know what this whole area looks like to me, Bernie, is it looks a lot like northern Alberta, where the Eye of Alberta is, and also as you cross from Alberta up into the Northwest Territories.
Zoom in there, zoom in.
I'm having trouble seeing it. I don't know why. I can't really see what's going on with it. That's why I'm not really saying anything.
Just zoom in all the way. And let it load. Here we go. Now zoom in a little bit further and let it load. It's just taking forever for the buffering. There we go. Now we found it. And we can
look at that.
slowly go through all of this now. Like those are all definitely canals, all definitely geoglyphs. And
the one right there under 741209 kind of looks like one of those troll faces that we have nowadays.
Right? Like, hey, repeating patterns of 741209. Are these fishing baits? Is that a mouse? Are these like fishing lures? I don't know. Just throwing ideas out there. We got bushes. Look, yeah, oh yeah, it keeps going forever. Keep following all of it, my friend.
There's thousands of those in there.
Yeah.
This is neat.
What is that?
Keep following them.
You say this is in New York?
New Jersey, I believe.
Oh, it's New Jersey.
Yeah, this is New Jersey. If I remember correctly.
We should get rid of the.
Don't zoom out too far. Just keep following all these channels, and there's literally thousands of them in here.
And this isn't like some far off region of the realm. This is New Jersey. I mean, it's pretty heavily populated part of North America. I mean, New Jersey, New York. I mean, there's so many heavily populated areas around here.
That's why we need to highlight.
It looks like the Angkor Wat water system, sort of.
Right? Like, yeah, if you can zoom in a bit more on that, let's see if you can get a person down there perspective. Highly doubt it, but you never know.
Kind of creepy.
Sorry.
Yeah, look at that. It's just so weird.
That's as far as it goes in.
Some of these hieroglyphs, the shape of them, or geoglyphs, sorry, the shape of them reminds me of the serpent mound.
Yeah, 100%, right? And like, look at how this is all clearly canals dug out. Like, there's no doubt about it that this is straight canals. And then
These don't seem like accidental shapes. They don't seem natural at all.
No, not at all. And especially the waters. And that zoom in as close as we can get on some more and explore them. And it looks like it even shows some of them like drying out and stuff. Like, but that they're obviously old and ancient. When you get further into the inlets.
Yeah, it's to me these look purposeful, especially considering a lot of these geoglyphs are connected to those canals. The canals, for the most part, seem fairly grid-like, with maybe just a few exceptions. And most, not all, but most of these geoglyphs are connected to one of these canals somehow.
And I guarantee half of the purpose of it is for agricultural farming, hunting, the sea life of probably crabs, clams, whatever, like the tidal ponds and whatnot in it, but that it's also simultaneously the same as Nazca.
What was that?
Guys,
I think you're cutting out. I'm not sure.
Yeah, cutting in and out, Frankie. Is there anywhere that can show the height and altitude? Look, there's a big road coming through part of that. Maybe we can get some first person. People literally live across the street from this stuff.
Custom Google Earth.
I guess as you're whipping by in your car on an interstate or secondary highway, this is just going to look
from above.
Yeah, this is just going to look like random swamps with some, foliage, bushes, marshes, wetlands and grassy areas, and some high spots and low spots, and the average you know, the average Joe Blow just going about his daily business, cruising along that road, isn't even going to really notice this or pay attention to it. I mean, in Jim Dillinger's video, he even mentioned like there's mansions and millionaires living like right next door to this stuff, and they probably don't even know that it's there.
Oh,
like
welcome, Carmen Michelle.
Yeah, I'd like to see some of these connecting more. Maybe the water level used to be higher or something. Because if they were used for trapping fish or wildlife to, you know, capture fish or whatever you guys are speculating, that would make sense. Some of it kind of reminds me of over in Siberia too, how a lot of the land is destroyed because you have these random holes all over the place.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
This section here.
Yeah, that's sort of northeastern portion of Siberia, which again looks exactly like northern Alberta. It's that seems
Right,
sort of
yeah.
pockmarked.
My speculation is
Sorry, go ahead.
Audio issues, I think. I'm not sure. We couldn't hear what you said. I don't know if you want to repeat it. I should be here.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I feel like the Nats are like, oh, I can't see you. Shem, nice to meet you, by the way.
Nice to meet you too.
I think that these are like the Nazca lines. It's just, what are they?
Yeah. Yeah, they look very similar in a lot of ways.
It's a communication with someone from the air. You wouldn't be able to see these on the ground, even now.
Yeah, exactly. There's no doubt.
Every time I move to Google Earth, my audio, I can't hear you guys, and I'm not sure if I'm even connected.
Yeah, we've lost your point was a couple of
You
times.
do cut it out every time you move it 100%. We lose your audio for like 10 or 15 seconds.
Yeah, look at this.
Like,
are any of those alchemical symbols, Bernie?
I've seen a few of them, and a lot of them look like some of those Squatter Man symbols as well, and what also depict to look like different wildlife, a mixture of all three. And to be honest, some of this stuff actually looks like Inuit written language from the Northwest Territories and such, possibly, and could be that the Mayan Aztec written language as well. Their pictographic symbologies, hieroglyphs, a lot of that. It could. I'm betting it's going to end up being like a mixture of all of it.
Yeah, Bernie, have you heard of the Wordless book? It's in Latin, but it's a book that's completely alchemical symbols and no words.
I need
interesting.
to see this.
Seems to tell a story, but there's literally no words in any language.
Well, a picture's worth 1,000 words, so.
Damn right. If you know what you're looking at, I don't know what these are, but they look like words.
See, to me, it looks like we're looking at three different things here. We're looking at a canal system. We're looking at some kind of geoglyph, like Nazca lines sort of a thing. And then we're also looking at big pockmarks. So I think the pockmarks came in later on as whatever bombarded this thing was trying to destroy the canal system and the geoglyphs. That's just me speculating, but
Likely.
I suspect you're correct.
It doesn't look erosion, right?
Like the quickest way to get rid of some kind of message system or pictographic system on solid ground like this that can only be seen from up high would be to just drop all kinds of, I don't know, munitions or incendiary or explosive or whatever device and just to blast it and bombard it with tons of pockmarks that eventually fill up with water. And then they could just say, oh, those are just lakes, eh? Those are just lots of lakes there, bud. No worries, eh? It's just like Minnesota, eh? Lots of lakes.
Mine Unveiled was doing some speculation in one of their videos that there was a volcano in think either North or South Carolina that erupted and maybe caused some of these bays in North America, because you have some of these in the Carolinas as well. The things we're talking about in Siberia and Canada, and also here. So I don't think this is too far away from that location. Maybe it could have something to do with it.
It's possible, but that would have
They were
to
saying
be
that I'm sorry, go ahead.
have to be some pretty large debris thrown up by a volcano to create some of these huge pockmarks that eventually become.
I'm talking about
lakes.
some of this. I'm talking about the smaller ones, the small circles that are around some of these, because it seems like these bigger ones were intentionally made, like kind of how these canals are. But I'm talking about the small little bay areas. But yeah, like I guess the volcano they were.
Sorry, go ahead.
The volcano that they're referring to is called Kings Mountain National Park. So I think it's a massive volcano that's active still to this day, but for some reason is not talked about on the East Coast of America. But I think it was their Charleston Unveiled video where they kind of give their theory about that. I could be wrong on that. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Frankie, do you want to keep scrolling a bit through the marshes here and go up a little bit higher so we can try to make out some more of these and just follow the canals around what seems like all of the straight carved, and that they have, like, that is terraformed, like there's no doubt about it. And this is essentially what was rumored to be in all of Florida and accredited to Roman canals back in the day or something. I'm guessing could be a similar sort of story.
I've been having pretty decent luck with Google Earth on streams recently. Been thankful for that.
The Google gods are good to Mario. It's me, Mario. Love you, brother.
People call me Luigi in real life, but Mario on the internet. It's funny.
Exactly.
I mean, come on, look at right there, right in the center of the screen.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, those are intentional shapes.
Those are, a couple of those look like constellations, actually. Even the Big Dipper, Little Dipper.
That looks like one of the dippers right there.
Yeah.
Can you go a little bit south of those dippers real quick?
Hmm.
I feel like I saw something, but it was just very brief, so I don't know. Could have been wrong.
Yeah, Jim in the chat's got a good point too. Some look like musical notes.
Which way was it? Right here?
It was right under the dipper area, but I don't know. It's so laggy. It skipped really hard for me just now, so I don't even know where we're at anymore.
Yeah, this area up here.
Okay. Yeah, that's hard.
To the right, maybe a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit to the right. Connect on the same piece of landmass that's on. So just kind of scroll along that landmass to the east, I want to say.
Yeah, to the east.
There's just no way these are accidents.
No, not at all. It just, especially like this.
Like a guy might be able to logically dismiss some of this by saying, well, okay, all the straight stuff, that's canals. Okay. And then some of the sort of pockmarks, those are ponds or, small lakes or whatever. Okay. But then when you add in the geoglyphs and you just put all three of them together, all concentrated in that one area like that, it's just too odd to dismiss as being some kind of naturally occurring, geological phenomena.
We lost Frankie again, but I'm going to play one more minute of... or we got Frankie back.
I opened it up on my Google Earth if you want to try it out real quick to give him a break from
heck yeah.
the
absolutely
laggy life. I can be laggy, it's no problem. I don't have much to say.
Kicked me out of the. Kicked
There we
me
go.
out.
Frankie Squares. We got.
It kicked me out. I had to.
It kicked you out?
Yeah, I had to reload it.
Really? It was like, nope, sorry,
Yeah.
too much truth.
Yeah, you've
Let me
seen
know.
enough.
No,
Move
right?
along now. Move along.
Yeah.
You've seen
So-
enough.
Don't
So
look
for
at the
anyone who-
pterodactyl.
So for anyone who's
Whatever you
looking on
do,
the
don't look up at that pterodactyl.
Streamyard
Yeah.
sharing, hide this, please. Thank you. Well,
And
so
do
for
we
anyone
think
who's
that
looking
these
for
things
this,
are intelligent enough to know? Did it know you were looking at him? Probably. Or her.
I could probably see at night if it was nighttime. I don't even know why you're out there at nighttime. That's terrifying. This is
Yeah.
Barnegat Light, as if for anyone who wants to look this up on their own, that's the area that we're in right now looking at these. Okay, so as you can see, they're everywhere.
Oh wow.
I think the area we were at a second ago, I'm gonna try to find that again. Yeah, this is a weird, they're almost like hieroglyphs.
I swear to God, they're hieroglyphs. They're like an ancient hieroglyph that is this geoglyphology I keep going on about with the Ferrum Foundation. And they look almost identical, some of them, to the new geoglyphs that Dutch Since found several months ago. And then since then, Rex Bear over at Leak Project, him and Diamond of Oppenheimer Ranch went out to the site themselves and verified them, and that they were like exactly these animal figures you could only see from above in like a swampy area in the middle, I think, of Idaho, Shem. I think they're in Idaho.
Wow.
Wow.
Trying to turn it so we can see it.
While
Look
you
at
guys
this.
are looking
So-
at that, I'm going to check out Idaho real quick here.
So the way that they have these canals dug in between each of these geoglyphs or hieroglyphs, whatever you want to call them, it does look a lot like something you would see on the walls in a temple of Egypt, because they usually have these lines separating the hieroglyphs in those temples. Not all of them, but a lot of the ones I've seen.
Like, I agree, right? And like, it's like a mixture of some of these ancient hieroglyphic languages with some alchemy symbols mixed with animals depictions, just like in Nazca.
You know what we could be looking at here is some kind of really, really large version of a sort of a Rosetta Stone type of thing, where these are multiple languages that
Yeah,
we're
like
looking
scrolls. Yeah, quite possible. That's a good idea. I like that.
I'm gonna measure and see how big this is real quick, because it seems to start down here and at least goes up to here. I think it's bigger than this though, because it looks like even to the northeast of what I'm showing right now. So we're looking at 3.96 miles just from this part, and it looks like it might even start down here and go up to here, at least. Let's see if I can zoom out.
And there's the portion on the other side. Oh, and look down there. Let's check out this other half that is a wildlife preserve, national wildlife. We got to
Yeah,
check
so
that
just
now.
this northeast section is 7.36 miles worth of this stuff. All right, yeah, so let's
That
move
means
into
you can't
that.
go there.
Are these buildings right here? Yes.
Yeah.
Wonder if we can look at
The canals appear to be at least 2 car width, maybe
I
even
want to see
3.
what the street view looks like real quick before we go over there. Interesting. So it's like the marshlands or something. Just swamps.
Right, just swamps, but like, oh, it's these perfect canals that your house backs onto. Actually, those are perfect canals that have been terraformed on a large scale, and your trailer home, well, you weren't the developer of that. Perfect. Look at them down there too, right across the street from the man-made. So they've just reclaimed them essentially and built over them.
Yeah, they probably dredged out some of the
This is the
existing
national park.
canals, and then to hide the geoglyphs, they just some land developer came in, divided them up into lots, and sold them off as,
Just keeps going.
here, build your
This is
mansion
National
here.
Park here. Wow.
Yeah, look at
Shem,
that.
can you
Dude, this
zoom in more on that, please? Like,
Yeah, I was just seeing how big it was real quick because I was shocked about
wow.
how far it's going down.
Wow, holy smokes.
Looks like they missed a spot down here. It goes across the street here. Oh, we might be able to get a better street view right here. Let's see, what's a cool spot? Try right here.
I bet you they're gonna not let you have drones in this area because it's a national bird sanctuary. The drone's gonna interfere with the birds, so you can't fly there.
Yeah, because you can't fly drones at the Inglewood Bird Sanctuary here in
Yeah.
Calgary.
Wow, so it's just grass. It's grass either in the water that's growing through the water, or there's land in between. I can't really tell because you have
Yeah,
no
so you
Only from
just-
electrical
above
rollout.
when looking down.
If you're just driving by or even just walking by or taking your dog for a walk, it doesn't look unusual at all. It just looks like marshlands with some grassy areas. Like, nah, whatever. But from above, it tells a totally different story. It's so crazy. Again, shout out to Jim Dillinger for
Yeah, great find.
this interesting.
And before this is
find.
done, we're gonna play Jim's Siberian one too, the best evidence so far, because I think it's also these same things, which if it is, gets me really excited. Because that's the exact
Bernie.
opposite side of their planet.
Bernie, I may have to leave for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, no worries, brother.
Okay. I'd like to
So
creep
let's
back
take
in if you guys are still going to be around.
Yeah, all good for sure, Frankie.
Okay.
More
I
than
may
welcome.
not just yet,
Yeah,
but yeah. Cool. Thanks for having me, by the way, guys.
Always a pleasure,
nice
Frankie
talking.
and Frankie. We still got
Yeah.
my Calgarian, Tartarian with us, and Tartarian Truth.
So I'm just trying to figure out how far this goes down. Does it go all the way to the end of this? Because you see that these sandbars are more than likely
Yeah.
man-made as well.
Right? So does it go the whole way down? I think that would basically dictate that they confirm that they are of the ancient culture if they're pretty much all the way down.
Seems like you get less of the
Oh.
glyphs down here.
Yeah,
but you
there's
still
some
have
in there.
canals.
But some up there still, yeah.
Yeah, there's still
The
canals
further up
and
you go, you can see the canals and the ruins.
there's some glyphs
Zoom
in
in.
there too. Yeah.
Is this giving us a night view?
Not sure.
The sun doesn't look like it's
Right.
out.
Real quick, I was going to
How
measure
convenient.
this, and then we can zoom into whatever part. I just want to see how large this is real quick, because I'll probably
Good
forget
call.
about it in the future, maybe.
Like, look at that perfect inlay of like, oh, that's the star fort. Is she? No, not quite. Dutch might do the measurements. Certain angles probably are in that bay.
Okay, so it's at least 68.98 miles.
100
Wow.
kilometers, over 100 kilometers of glyph
Oh, I'm sorry.
coastline.
It actually does go up further. I was second guessing myself. I didn't want to over speculate too much. So let's see one more time. So we can include this part as well. So we're looking at 74.27 miles, plus it could be plus or minus a couple miles in there. That's just insane. I want to go up to the top just to see if it does continue real quick, and then we'll go back to the original section. So yeah, it looks like it. Oh, it does continue up here. See? So it could be close to 100 miles that we're looking at here.
Oh, wow. It does. Oh, it totally does.
That is
Jeez.
so large that it would take you about 2 hours just to drive through that if there was a road that went straight through. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly.
That's how big that is.
And it-
2 hours.
It's even up here. So we're looking at over 100 miles now. Yeah, this is fascinating. All right, so let's get back to the original area and see if there's anything else you want to look at. which I think was around here. Yes. Barnegat Light. Okay. So yeah, if anyone recognizes any of these symbols, feel free to share in the comment, or maybe you can translate some of this. I don't know. Some of them just look random, but others do look like they are intentional. Let me know if there's anything you want me to zoom in on.
Oh, by the way, guys, this is right by Wardenclyffe Tower, and here's a ley line, and we are right there.
Wow, it literally is. Wardenclyffe Tower is in that same area.
Well, Tesla built these things because he knew where's these spots. Here's the New
Fascinating.
Yorker, where they think the CIA paid to do another Wardenclyffe. Have you heard that theory?
I have not.
The New Yorker has its own generator. It's the biggest building.
Oh, yeah.
So they think that because Hitler was taking over the CIA, which was a different entity back then, and was actually fighting for a good cause, they think that they were like, hey, let's build your Wardenclyffe Tower 10 times bigger, and it makes sense they would do that. And that this was the state of the art epic hotel. It's like Trump Tower, you know what I mean? Except for it has its own power plant underneath, which wasn't necessary. So yeah, there's a Tesla file on the History Channel about this. If so, he actually didn't die penniless and alone, and he fulfilled his dream. We'll never know. I'd like to think so, though.
That he didn't.
I didn't mean to get off subject.
I feel like it's pretty on subject. I mean, if it's close by.
Yeah, it is, right? Right there.
Yeah, like literally goes in the middle of it. So
yeah, and they found giant. There's aquifers underneath it, and there's at Wardenclyffe, and there's giant granite things. He drilled giant copper things into granite. They did ground penetrating radar.
I guess I'm looking at the wrong spot. I don't know. I was looking up Wardenclyffe Tower.
yeah, see, it's just on the east side of Long Island, where if you go or the west side of it, you need to go to the east side of the island to get back to the glyphs. See, it's right there, same spot, I believe. Or is it that?
It's pretty close. This
Pretty,
is.
Sorry, it's one up. My bad.
So if this is the tower, then what we were looking at earlier is down here. So it's about 100 miles away.
Gotcha.
Is there anything in Long Island that's similar?
Yeah, right. The next question we both think of at the same time.
Doesn't look like
Yep.
this isn't. I'm not seeing any of the glyphs really though.
But still the same canals.
Zoom in a little bit more, see if we can get a closer look. Yeah, these are mossy canals too. They're looking pretty green. Let's take a trip through time real quick.
No. Oh, we got a full pentagon and triangle in there? Like, what? Just connected by the canals. And then, what are those big rectangles in the forest, like, or the swamp area? Up to the left a bit.
Right here, yeah.
Right there. Yeah, what are those?
Let's go to the future.
These.
Looks like they actually have roads to get out here, maybe. I don't know. They just kind of disappear into the
Yeah.
woods. So who knows?
But maybe they used to be roads, right?
That's what makes it even more strange, right? Like,
Yeah.
I wonder if the Historical Society of New York City or maybe Long Island has their own would know anything about these, or if there's any records about what these are.
best chance would be in that wild national wildlife or bird place or whatever the heck it was on the Jersey side there.
Yeah.
See if
the Smithsonian has those records. Sorry.
right. The Vatican as well.
Another resource might be
Thanks for
Dustin
playing.
from Berserker Bear. He does a lot of work on New York, so he might have some information
Yeah.
about this stuff. All right, we can get back to New Jersey. It doesn't look like it's exactly the same, but they still at least have the canals and the man-made looking land bar or sandbar with. It looks like they have a road on it now.
Right, like
Technically, I could travel there fairly easily. Does it look like something?
Oh boy.
Do you have to have a boat to get to them? Maybe.
yeah, you probably want a boat or a god, the freaking little hover thingy.
Yeah, airboat maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, and but Zodiac probably, but that you'd want the Zodiac and a drone to be able to launch up and down from, or I guess start from the sandbar droning.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys
I have
want to
racing
check out?
drones too, which don't apply to the the things where they won't let you fly. Mine will take off anywhere.
Nice, you got a crack drone.
Yeah, it's a racer. It doesn't hover at all. I can hover it though, but they'll still shoot it down in 2 seconds if I were to go near that pyramid complex in the Grand Canyon. That's for sure.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And they wouldn't even need it. They could just do it electrically.
Exactly. Those places have the EW protection and countermeasures. Like what happened to Rex's drone? And
I think with the DJI,
team up with it.
Yeah, the DJI might not let you take off near that wildlife preserve.
Yeah, probably now it doesn't. In the upgraded ones, I guarantee you, now it won't let you.
Makes me think when I was in the Outer Banks, there was a wildlife preserve with a kind of sandbar type thing like this as well. I wonder if there's something there. But did you guys want to check out the Siberia video now, or is there anything else you want to look at here?
Might as well. That was a hell of an exploration on this topic for today, and I do want to check out the Siberian one because I see that Jim has found this exact same site that another channel I saw that did a video on it like 6 or 7 years ago that I recently just stumbled upon, and it's the exact same spot in Siberia, although I think Jim actually goes into many more sites, not just that. So let's get her done, and thank you for reminding me that I need to post the link in Twitter to play it without the ads. Because despite the fact that you tried to invite me into your family with the family plan, Shem, Google would not allow it because we're in different countries.
Same continent. They won't allow it. All right, well, I'm gonna grab some coffee real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay, yeah, good call, and we'll play this video here, and then be back with more live Jim Dillinger's Siberia Mudflood Tartaria. And this is the real Tartaria. This is Tartarian Truth, aka research in Siberia, the areas of the maps that were labeled Tartaria with Shem, Tartarian Truth.
He was upside
Bernie,
down.
before I forget, We should talk
Anyway,
about Mel's
Hold
Hole
on.
at some
Say
point.
that again.
There's a place called Mel, MEL''S, Mel's Hole. Have you heard of that? It's a hole on his property. I think it's in Oregon, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, I know which one you're talking about. Yes,
And it
we
just
will. We'll have to
40
bring that
miles
up.
down or something. Couldn't find the end of it still. Yeah.
There's a few of those. They're a whole other, not a rabbit hole, but maybe an alien hole or an Earth hole. But
Exactly.
let's go down the Siberian chim.
Hey there, everybody. Now let's
Nance.
get back to making some important videos. I'm going to cook a pie this evening, or maybe tomorrow evening. I might film that and put it up for you, but this is more important. We're going to get back to mud flood Tartaria. I have found the most damning evidence of the mud flood in Siberia, Tartaria, which you'll see a little bit further on in the video. So just hang loose until we get to this. Okay, this is the map of Monday that we're looking at. 1451, apparently. It's upside down. There's the Mediterranean Sea. There's Italy sticking up upside down. Greece upside down. Lakes upside down. The rest of the world is upside down. And probably was upside down back then. Anyway, hold on. So now when we do go over to take a little look at Italy, you can see how sparsely populated it is according to this map. Bologna, one shed. Roma, one shed. Napoli, one shed. So all these Italians had one shed out the back. That's probably the Pope's private toilet. Anyway. Now here, as we start to move a little bit further east, you can see Russia Bianca. But you can see the difference in the architecture. As Rome just had one shed out the back, up here in Tartaria, northern Siberia, you have a huge array of magnificent cities. And this is not the only map that they all appear on. As you go back through the colored maps that have come up in the past 8-10 years, Tartarian maps, you can see that there were many cities up this part of the world. We'll just go a little bit further. So look at some of these cities again. As we go up the coast here to the Sea of Tartaria, as it was known. Magnificent cities.
Shout out
magnificent
Tartaria.
structures. I mean, they littered the entire coastline, right across Alaska and right across the north of Canada. And they ain't there now, but they left something in their place. So this is the area that we're looking at now. Forgive me for the quality. I don't really have a whole lot of tech, but we're right up here in that same area, Central Siberian Plateau and the Lena River. And we're going to get into the Lena River Delta, where it's all happening. Yeah. So this is what it looks like from the sky. This is what it looks like from Google. And you have many tributaries going through this. Look at all these pot marks. We'll get around to those in a minute, right? But we're still in the same area here. And this is what it looks like close up. They call these things thermokarst lakes. And there's a big load of lies that go along with them, yeah? That they're millions of years old and that the permafrost causes them and it freezes and it thaws. And you know all the lies yourselves. A little bit of a closer up look and it looks like this. And these are all lakes. They're depth of 2 to 4 meters, some of them 2 to 4 feet. Yeah, 2 meters, 6 feet, up to 20 feet. And you know what these are? These are craters from a boom and a boom, 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 knock your city down, blast your city all over the place. We're going to get there. Hold on. And as you get up a bit closer, it looks like this. I have a theory on what these devices were made from that caused all this damage. Might get through to that at the end, okay? And as you get a little further back, up into Google, up higher,
this is what we're looking at. Now, this looks like one of the most organized cities I have ever seen, ever. Right? North, south, east, west. And again, blown to smithereens. Anyway, let's continue. Now, what happened next is that a group of people have gone up there and done a high resolution and seismic ground penetrating radar on the area. And what you're about to see is gonna blow the whole thing wide open. Mudflood no one will be able to deny mudflood after this in Tartaria. So bear with me as I go along here. I don't have a whole lot of info on where all this came from, but there is some names of who did this here as we go along. Hold on. So this is some of their report. Now I'm not going to go through this with you, but you can, if you want, freeze this and read it. It just talks about the lakes and how the delta is. Here we go. Thus, the Lena Delta is characterized by several unique features that are either poorly understood or unexplained. Right. Let's get round to explaining them. So this is who we're talking about, who did this thing. High resolution seismic and ground penetrating radar profiling of a thermal karst lake in the western Lena Delta, northern Siberia. Mr. some G.J. Schwamborn, J.K. Dix, blah, blah, not Rothschild, Alfred Wegener, Institute of Polar and Marine Science, Potsdam, Germany, School of Ocean and Earth Science, Southampton Oceanography Centre, Southampton, UK. Maybe one of you, maybe Campbell, maybe Martin, or maybe even Philip Drusenin, who's up there in Russia, could look into this and bring this a bit further, because I ain't no good at researching. I ain't got a laptop. I never seen a computer up close in my life before. There's me and my mobile phone. And here's a little bit more that I found on this. Again, if you want, it's not going to be easy to read because it's not a really good picture. If you want, freeze it and read it. And this is a little bit more that's got to do with it. Part of their survey. Don't understand what it means. And now here we are. Here is the result of the seismic ground penetrating radar. Okay. What have they got? We got a friggin' 12-story block of flats underground going all the way along, right underneath those thermal karst lakes. The bloody thing's been mud flooded and it's been covered over. I got some, it gets a little bit better. The picture gets better. So just bear with me here now, okay? This is the freakiest stuff. Now, this is a little bit enlarged. Again, not great quality, a little bit enlarged. You can get it up a little bit closer. Oh, man. No, that's not an apartment block, okay? That is an absolutely natural occurring thing that you find under the earth up in Siberia. Yeah. A foul language alert, actually, is what I should let out. Now, messing about with the color a bit, darkening a little bit, you can see it very clearly. And it goes around. Now, I'm just moving from picture to picture here because there is a better resolution coming up. Now, this is this image again here, a bit highlighted. You got a doorway, and you got, I would say, 8 or 10 or 12 floors. Whoops. In this apartment block. Now, again, this is it up a little bit closer. Not great footage. Hold on a sec. So yeah, it looks to me like some of these, well, I mean, what the hell? Dimitri. Yes, Vladimir. Could I borrow a cup of sugar from you, please? Of course, Vladimir. Remember 2 days ago I gave you a jug of milk? Yes, I'll have that for you tomorrow. Yeah? Dmitri? Yes, Vladimir? What's that big freaking shiny thing coming towards us? Boom! Let me tell you, Dmitri never got his fucking jug of sugar back. Let me tell you that, right? And Vladimir and Dmitri are still in there, in that freaking apartment. Nuked, zapped, frozen, and an entire civilization wiped off the face of the earth. You know? I mean, a fucking goddamn 15-story block of flats everywhere. Everywhere. How you're talking billions killed, billions dead. Right? Now, let me get back over here to a little bit of Google Earth for a minute, okay? So here we are. This is the Lena River Delta, and this is what the surface of the Earth looks like. So this is what happened to all those wonderful people who lived in these wonderful cities. And I mean, these craters run all the way across northern Russia, all the way across Siberia. There's the Lena River. All the way across Alaska. So you can ask what happened. Oh, it was an absolute accident. Yeah? I mean, it was blitzkrieg on a massive scale with weapons of mass destruction that we have no clue what they are or where they came from. Yeah? But yet we know that they were there because it couldn't have been done. Now, who's the culprit that they say that attacked Russia and blew the shit out of it, right? We are told it is Napoleon, right? I live in France. Napoleon is everywhere. He's everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's statues, there's horses, there's this, that, the other, around here anyway, right? Now, I have doubts about all that because apparently he only went to Moscow. He didn't make it all the way to northern Siberia, okay? And yet we have a lot of information which tells us that the Russians and the French, or the Holy Roman Army is what Napoleon was, they joined forces to wipe out Tartaria. Yeah. Somebody did. Somebody wiped the whole place out. Now, how could this guy, Napoleon, have made it to Russia? All right. Now, again, this isn't a great picture, okay? But the story was that Napoleon was a short fella, 5'2", and all these other fellas all around him are all 5'8", 5'10", 6 foot. Yeah, and they would walk by Napoleon and shorty. I mean, he had a bit of a complex about that. But I don't buy that. I don't even buy Napoleon. But the people of the time, why did they call Napoleon a short fella? Right? Because this was what Napoleon was. He was one of these people, one of us, 6 foot tall guy, and he was in charge of everything. Now he had these 8 to 10 foot people with him, standing around his guards or whatever, and then his army was made up of these 12 to 14 feet people who perished in this war. These were the giants, or the remnants of the giants that built our world. And back in the 1800s and late 1800s, where you had a lot of black and white photography, you still had a lot of these 8, 9 foot, 10 foot guys around. They're in lots and lots of photographs. But the secret about Napoleon being a wee short bastard is because he was our size. So these people got wiped out. They no longer are here, or else they went north, right? This lot, they're gone
This is
too. You
true, by
might
the
see
way.
the odd one, the odd genetic remnant of one, okay?
Napoleon was
How did he
5'8".
get here? His great grandmother went to a dance one night and never told anybody about it, right? So she had 6 kids. There were 5 of them were this size, and one of them popped out like this. This was the genetic remnants, basically. Now let's get back to this dickhead Napoleon. He couldn't make his way to Russia. 700,000 men and 200,000 horses made their way to Russia. And that's like me. I'm in central France right now. That's like me and all my neighbors being rounded up. And we got rounded up and we got to walk to Moscow. You fucking kidding me? How much food would a workhorse or a horse on the march eat each day? It would eat maybe 30 kilos of food a day. 200,000 horses. Do you know how much food that is? That's 6,000 tons of food per day for the horses and the animals, marching all the way to Moscow. And a man on the march, 700,000 men on the march. And what would a man on the march eat in a day? He would eat 3 kilos of food. So if 200,000 men are eating 3 kilos of food, you're into 2,000 tons of food for the men and 6,000 tons of food for the horses each day, while you walk to Moscow with no roads and no bridges and forests everywhere. It's all a load of shit. We've all been lied to. Napoleon's a fake character from history. Something much, much worse than what they tell us happened. And it's the same all over the whole world. But here is a painting or a drawing from the time when these people were apparently on the march. And this march was the Holy Roman Army on its way with tech, with very high tech, to Siberia, to Tartaria, to wipe out the Tartarians. And they succeeded in wiping them out. They made their way back. And of course, you can have Napoleon come along and say, history is a set of lies agreed upon. Yeah. The Holy Roman Empire is still trying to take down Russia today. And I have heard bishops from Rome speaking recently, even through this whole Ukrainian shit, we want to consecrate Russia under the Virgin Mary. Yeah? Well, the Orthodox Christians and the traditional Islam that exists in Russia can tell you to go fuck yourselves, because you ain't getting it. In fact, the tables are turning on you. Rome has been defeated in the past. Yeah. Yeah, my TV went blank there. So I'm filming this off a flat screen TV with a mobile phone. Anybody out there who can bring this Siberia Tartaria mud flood up with a better picture? Philip, Martin, Campbell, you guys that know a little bit about research, know a little bit about computers, know how to work this tech, because this is fucking some serious shit. And these ground penetrating radar people have gone up there and come out with a bullshit story that this is 200 million years old. The people 200 million years ago were running around building fucking 15-story blocks of flats. Right? Whereas this mob went up there with high-tech shit and wiped the whole freaking place out. What did I say? I said I was going to talk about, I speculated on what these devices that blew this whole place up might have been made from. Okay. So here we go. Water. And the freaking Phoenicians, who are masters of water. I found the Phoenicians, by the way. You'll never believe where they've been hiding. It's coming in my next video. So H2O, that's 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen, or 2 molecules hydrogen, 1 molecule oxygen, right? 66% one, 33% the other. So 150 liters of water, take that for an example, okay? That's 100 liters of hydrogen and 50 liters of oxygen. Now, 100 liters of hydrogen will compress into a 12-liter container, and 50 liters of oxygen will press into a 7-liter container. That's 19 liters. So that's 2 containers combined, totaling 19 liters. If you detonate them together, they will immediately produce 150 liters of water. So I reckon they destroyed the world like this. They had compressed devices, much larger than 150 liters. They were able to send them in this direction, and on impact, they detonated and they produced billions of gallons of water, blew everything to smithereens, and left all those pot-marked thermal karst lakes, as they call them. They're all over the United States of America. Looks to me like they were fired from Lake Erie in every direction. And it's all over Canada, it's all over Alaska, it's all over Siberia. So that's my take on what kind of weapons were fired. Of course, that amount of water will cause a massive flood. But it will leave behind these craters and this dark water that's in them. They're even in Ireland. So that's my take. Mud flood, Siberia, Tartaria, and this little short French bastard who never existed, who's supposed to have gone up there and done all this damage. I've been sitting on this information for quite some time, waiting to get a laptop, waiting. It's not that I can't afford a laptop. I just never freaking seen one up close in my life before, and I wouldn't know where to start with it. But I will get one, and I will get some lessons, and I will try and make better stuff. But please, somebody, any of you, if you think you can take this a step further, go ahead and take it further. Dmitry and Vladimir were about to have a cup of freaking tea, and somebody fired a big shiny thing at them, and they just caught it at the last minute. Take care, y'all.
So when was that video from? How old is that video?
I'm just going to check on Jim's
6
channel right
months,
now.
I believe. 6 months. Sorry about that. I was just setting up the monatomic silver production on the side there.
You guys mind if I say something?
Else wants to share and take over, but showing.
Oh yeah, that was 11 months ago, that video, by the way.
11 months. My bad. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
Yeah,
It was with a TV.
For a guy who doesn't have access to a computer, he sure does know a lot about other people's theories on YouTube. That's all I'll say about that.
Shout out Jim Dilly, and does a pretty darn good job for each. But puts out about 1 video a month, and there's some epic ones, like important topics. Did I get the right? Oh, it's down. Now I got to put it up. The silver I just got set up. This is a colloidal silver jars rehooked up. Now see if it starts.
Juby, yes, that was him playing someone else's video.
Do you guys know that Napoleon, he spent the night in the Great Pyramid and slept in the sarcophagus and became a mathematician, physicist? There's a mathematical law with his name on it, a mathematical constant. Isn't that crazy?
So the story goes.
Can you guys hear me?
It's pretty crazy. Yeah, I've never heard about that before.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
neither.
it's on the Gaia channel. It's actually pretty much fact. Crazy.
Oh, Gaia.
Well, I mean, it's on what seems to be legitimate, whatever that means these days. You know?
Jim, feel free to share your sources for why you think Napoleon doesn't exist, since you didn't really mention that in the video. You just kind of said it.
What now?
The Jim Dillinger guy, he's in the chat right now. He said Napoleon doesn't exist, but he didn't say why he thinks that. He just said.
Yeah.
He just said that.
There's a common theme with that. Isn't there like 13 different Napoleons or something crazy like that? That like it does. The more you look into it, the more it actually does seem rather fucked up. And Jim was ranting about the Napoleon's army and how the hell it would have been impossible to march up and conquer all of Tartaria and destroy those cities in that time frame or something like that. I think is why he was claiming Napoleon didn't march on Russia or something like that. Was his idea, but I'm not sure. Jim, you gotta do a video.
The other thing that's dodgy about the whole Napoleon marching into Russia narrative is that he's, according to the timeline, he started in his invasion of Russia in June, but he didn't really get that far into Russia until September, October, coming into November. And the thing is, as a Canadian, I can tell you the weather in Russia is very similar to the weather here in Canada, and you don't want to be marching that time of year at any great distances. You don't want to even be outside for any prolonged period of time. We're talking minus 30 degrees Celsius, minus 40 degrees Celsius, wind, snow, ice. And they didn't have the high-tech winter gear that we have today, where you might be able to be outside for a couple hours in those severe conditions. We're talking, 1812 here by the story. So not exactly tiptoeing through the tulips up there that time of year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, you're freezing and dying.
Yeah, they're freezing to death, and they're going to have to eat their horses.
Well,
Is this the year
400,000.
where that blast happened? It took out all the trees.
Tunguska.
Is this near that, or I know that that's way later, but
That's a very good question.
yeah,
Very good question.
I'll probably look it up. But I'm changing my batteries as well.
So we got one new silver, 2-ounce silver anode, 2-ounce silver cathode, hooked up and going in this reaction. But this reaction ran once before and is what made the monoatomics that I just harvested from the silver from this guy. But I'm running it a second time now that it's a full moon. And if we can play something for 20 minutes. Oh, sorry, Shem. There we go. Got you back. I think there. I have to just go crack the plastic off of these, break the seal. Shem, you got anything you want to share, go over here for 10 minutes while I get stuff going outside?
Yeah, sure. It probably won't take 10 minutes though, but I guess I could talk about, there's these UFOs in Ohio recently and they say that they're fake, but I actually saw them myself probably like a month before this video came out. I even messaged my buddy Elkman on Instagram when it happened and said I just saw some UFO or something, and I wish I took a video of it. So I found this video that shows the same thing that I saw. I could share that, I guess.
Yeah.
By the way,
they're
to
claiming
answer Frankie's question earlier, it's the Tunguska with the blast event is almost directly due south from that area that Jim was showing in his video. It's quite far south, but almost directly due south.
Sorry, I was in another room. Were you talking to me?
Yeah, but
Yes,
you're
Frankie
asking
was
about
covering your Frank.
Tunguska?
Sorry, I was almost out of range. What was it? What was it?
When you're asking about the Tunguska blast?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that Tunguska is almost directly due south from that area that Jim was showing in his video. It's quite far south, like quite a couple hundred kilometers, a few hundred miles, but it's almost directly due south.
Do you think like it was, I don't know, part of an attack like Inky? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Being due south is kind of significant, really. You know what I mean? I feel like.
Yeah, like that whole area from Tunguska is sort of northward, and then branching out slightly east and west as well. It sort of fans out as you move northward out of Tunguska. You get that whole pockmarked, blasted out looking area.
Do you think it was a war of the aliens, or is it more modern? I mean, what's the most logical thing?
I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about the whole alien thing. Sometimes I think, yeah, maybe, and other times I think, yeah, that's a pile of bullshit. So I don't know.
I'm with you actually. I think that we're not interesting enough. You ever heard of the ants in the jungle theory? We don't go to the jungle to mess with ants, so they've never even seen us. You know, they probably do exist, but I don't know. There's the whole the Sumerian texts that say that there was a war between our creators and another race, whatever, eons ago.
Yeah, this is all perfect stuff to discuss in the next episode, doing with Walter Bosley and hopefully Joseph Farrell, as well as alien scientist and most likely Zertus, to go deep into that specific stuff. I think
I didn't mean to go down that hole.
All good. It's like Swiss cheese here with the gravy for making that Canadian poutine with a taste of 4th of July for our American fam-dam. We lost Shem when he started to share. I don't know what happened. Maybe he'll be back. But let's finally finish, because the link is in the description, and I've been trying to finish this rest of Angkor Wat.
Has external axial dimensions of 108